Around the Table on Harrison's Original, KHOZ.
Good morning and welcome to Around the Table with not Dan and
Not
Ann,
today.
but it is Ian and Ann. I'm going to say Ann and Ian. I mean, come on. This is the only
Hey.
time I get to put myself first.
That's right. Dan is out, and thank you so much for asking me to come in, Ann.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you. You've done this before. You're an old pro at it now, right?
Well, what I think is interesting is how long did we do the 726 this week's show? Probably
18 years.
Yeah, so for 18 years I was the one running the control desk or production room. And here you are now. I'm behind the mic and you're running everything. So it's a nice little shift of gears here.
I'm glad it is because sometimes I go, Well, I have to say that Dan did text this morning and say, everything's going to be cool, Ann.
Absolutely.
We kind of feed off each other, but he's kind of the tech guru, but I got a tech guru right here. So welcome to the Around the Table, Ian. Thank you for being here. And we have a couple of house cleaning chores that we want to talk about. First of all, we want to talk about Paradise Cream. They are open here in Harrison from 3 to 8, and they are open pretty much across from Pizza Hut. And they have a food trailer there, and they have all homemade, cream-made ice cream. Like the real deal.
Like that's like unheard of anymore. You just don't get that hardly anymore unless you're just really searching it out.
It is rich and tasty. And they also have a brick and mortar over in Mountain Home, but they have this food truck here, and they bring, I guess, their favorite flavors for our area to be able to
Sounds tasty.
Eat. It's hard to think about ice cream right at the moment because the weather has just been not ice creamy, in my humble opinion. But some people like ice cream 24/7. Every day or whatever. It doesn't matter what the weather's like. But I'm kind of
any
weirdo.
flavor other than vanilla, if you can get a little variety in your life. Hey, I'm
What's
all
your
for
favorite
it.
flavor?
I'm a vanilla guy most of the time.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll put chocolate on it if I want chocolate, but vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to Baskin Robbins. I'd order vanilla. How boring, but that was my favorite.
That's right.
I don't need all the foo-foo, I guess. But I have tried their ice cream, and it is phenomenal. So I would encourage people to go visit Paradise Cream.
Yeah, go see them. Go check them out.
You betcha. And also, we want to mention there are a new winner list for Dick's 5 and 10, and that is located over in Branson in the downtown area.
Okay.
And they are having a streetscape project they're in progress of that in the town, and they are giving away 5 $100 shopping sprees.
Okay.
Well, we've had winners listed, and this was our lucky winners from last week. And do you have it there? Do you want to read any names?
I have Steve.
What? Nope, down here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Rhonda Greger from
Do your
Texas. From Texas. Ann Reagan, North Carolina. Carolyn Farrell from Kentucky. Shirley Groen from Missouri. And Angelina Champion from Missouri.
Well, there you go. Thank you. I'm glad that those people visited Dick's 5 and 10 and that they were the lucky winners for last week. Now, we're on Thursday of this week, there'll be a whole new list of winners again. But each week they're giving away 5 $100 shopping sprees to use in Dick's 5 and 10. And have you been in there before?
No, I haven't.
There's a lot in there, and there are kind of vintage things, just unique items that people don't run across in every store nowadays. Sure. So I would invite people to go and check that out. Also, I need to tell you, yesterday we did an interview with Jason Pfeiffer from JJ's Buffalo Bar and Grill, and there was one thing that was stated in that interview that was incorrect, and we were asked to pull it. It had to be pulled, and there's really no way to go back and fix that. But and that was unfortunate, and I don't know if they'll be back at some point or not. But they were talking about a fundraiser, and it was unfortunate. But when we find out that there's information, not intentionally said wrong, that's really our only option, is to go back and pull the interview. So that's what we had to do. Yeah. But there's my house cleaning starting.
Well, there we go.
That's the only house cleaning I do right there. I don't like to go clean house. Do you clean your house, Dan? I'm Dan. Ian?
That's okay. Yes, I do.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope everybody cleans their house. I wouldn't probably visit you if you didn't.
Well, you haven't ever visited me. Yeah, well, you've been to my house.
I have been to your house.
That's not true. You have been in my house. So, anyway, we also want to talk about the weather, which is, ugh. I'm like over the yuck myself.
Yeah, last couple of days have been kind of moist.
Did you hear us talk about that one time?
She hates that word.
Oh, we were talking about it on air because I know people that cannot stand that word. And so Dan and I are like, well, it's really moist out,
Oh, yeah,
egging
each other on.
Oh, right. But yes, it's been rather moist, I must say. But today there is a 50% chance of moistness of shower and thunderstorms, mainly before the 3 p.m. mark. And the high will only be up to 71. Rainfall amounts between a tenth and quarter of an inch are possible. Now, tonight is a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 7 p.m. Low of 53. Then tomorrow's, mostly sunny with a high of 73. It's about time. Friday night, mostly clear with a low of 46. And then Saturday, sunny with a high of 73. And Saturday night, partly cloudy with a low of 48. And before you go into Sunday, it looks like our weekend's kind of lining up pretty nicely. And if you want to take Sunday.
Sure. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 73. Calm winds around 5 miles an hour. Could get up to little gusty later around 15. Sunday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 54. Calming winds 5 miles per hour in the evening. On Monday, a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms after 1, mostly sunny with a high near 73, calm winds. Monday night, partly cloudy with a low around 55. Tuesday, Sunday with a high near 83. And Wednesday around 86. So, yeah, it looks like we're shaping up pretty good for early next week.
So, yay for that.
Absolutely.
I'm ready for that very much so. Excuse me. There's lots of things. Well, we'll talk about that later. I want to remind me to talk about things that are going on this weekend that people may want to. Dan and I will not be. Neither one of us will be here tomorrow, so this show will be filled with music, and we may visit some vocal things on here, but we will not be here in person. So we will be back though on Monday for our regular weekly show. So
taking a day off.
Well, yeah, we both did. It kind of worked out that way, but anyway. So we are going to dive into the topic to ponder, which has been on paranormal and ghost activity.
Hey.
So.
Get up, get moving, get those thinking caps on. It's time to ponder this topic.
I don't know why I couldn't hear it, but okay. Which paranormal creature, that would be a ghost, alien, Bigfoot, etc., do you think is most likely to be real, and why?
So can I add one? Would an angel be considered a paranormal creature? Because that's the one that I would think would be most real.
Okay.
And why I think that they're real is because I believe we are living with them. I think there are some angels living here with us. And that's just my personal thoughts.
And I'm glad that you went that route, because it's hard for me to. I've never had a paranormal experience that I can speak of, but I have had what I would call a spiritual experience. Right. And I don't know that I've encountered an angel, but I know there are people put in my life who I would classify as angels. So I'm glad that you went, down that road.
Yeah, and I don't think they're just here today and gone tomorrow. Maybe we never knew their name. Maybe they helped us. And I do believe that sometimes we have those instances, but I don't think they're all like that. I think some people are literally angels. So
you mean like in person
flesh
form?
Yeah.
I like that answer, Ian. Yep. Dadgummit. I think he did good. I think you ought to come up with all our topics to ponder. No, but I'm hoping our graphic is on our Facebook page. I have not checked this morning. So let me look here and make sure that we have it up, and you can go to our Around the Table Facebook page and answer that question. It is, which paranormal creature, ghost, alien, Bigfoot, etc., angels, do you think is most likely to be real? And tell us why you think that. Why do you think that? Why do you think your answer?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
I just think some people are given a gift of being, they just have certain, I wouldn't say superpowers, that's really not the word I'm looking for, but like they just have a gift, a heart that's like godlike, in my opinion.
My worship pastor always tells us to shine bright,
Sure,
and love
sure.
like Jesus. And I think there are people that just,
It's easy.
it just comes out,
Yep.
That's just who they are.
Yep.
Yeah, for
It's just
sure. I
natural.
have to struggle. I have to work at it, But I think there probably are, and I've never thought about them as being angels here on earth, but
Yeah.
I like what you're saying there. So.
Well, I think they're given like an amnesia, like we all are. When we first born, we don't know where we come from. We don't know what the beginning was. We have to be told.
Right.
But I think some people's destiny is maybe a whatever that word, they're deemed an angel when they go to the next
Whatever.
place, wherever. Yeah. So
the next realm, if
Right.
you will. I don't know. Okay. We invite our listeners and viewers, though, to go to our Facebook page, Around the Table, and give us your answers, your thoughts, and why. And, there's no wrong answer.
Absolutely not. No.
We just want your thoughts, and we appreciate that you engage with us on the show about that. Okay. I think I had something on that shouldn't have been on a minute ago. It might be why we couldn't hear anything.
Uh-oh.
But we are going to go on and do our Today in History.
We're doomed to repeat ourselves, so let's find out what happened today in history.
All right.
We've been held back and suppressed for so long that it's kind of hard to finally take that initial step out, and finally say, I am free at last.
80 years ago, it was VE Day. That stands for Victory
Well, actually,
in
that
Europe.
was number 3 for whatever reason. Y'all, never mind. But yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so number 3 cut was from this day in 1973, 52 years ago. Militant Native Americans surrendered to federal authorities and ended a 10-week armed occupation of Wounded Knee, South Dakota. American Indian Movement spokesman Ironclad said the protest had boosted Indians' self-confidence.
Okay, and I'm going to read number 1 because I don't know how to go back and skip back over it. So,
Thanks for messing me up, Ann.
well, I thought I would, why not? Just throw you under the bus
There you go.
while you're here helping me. 80 years ago today, it was VE Victory in Europe Day, the end of World War II in Europe. The surrender documents Germany had signed a day earlier took effect. President Truman rejoiced. The VE Day was also Truman's 61st birthday, and he was born May 8, 1984, and died in 72. And then I'm going to let you read number 2.
Sure. 63 years ago, a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum. Opened on Broadway, starring Zero Mostel, John, and I may be ruining these names, John Carradine and Jack Guilford. The musical was Stephen Sondheim's first Broadway score, thank you. It ran for 964 performances. Here's Mostel. Oh, well, we can't.
Right.
We can't play the song, but yeah.
Comedy Tonight was one of the songs from that. We did that here locally. It was a lot of fun. But if you ever get the chance to go watch A Funny Thing Happened on the way to the Forum, I would encourage you to do so.
Awesome.
Okay, I don't even know where I'm at now. Let's go. We'll see what it plays.
I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Okay, that was 7 years ago. President Trump announced that the United States would pull out of an international agreement brokered during the Obama administration. And then you can read number 5.
Sure. Naturalist and television presenter Sir David Attenborough was born 99 years ago. He's been known for hosting nature documentaries such as Life and Planet Earth. Here's Great Barrier Reef.
Okay, I'm just Excuse me. Let me collect myself for a second. Which one did I just have you read?
Number 5. You're on number 6.
Okay. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Singer Philip Bailey was born 74 years ago. As member of Earth, Wind, and Fire, he sung lead on hits including Fantasy. And this is another one that we can't play, number 7.
Okay. Musician Alex Van Halen was born 72 years ago. He's the drummer and founding member of rock band Van Halen.
Alrighty. And then 8 is we had lots of music, and we can't play all the music, as y'all know, so we're just reading through those. Singer Enrique Iglesias was born 50 years ago. From the album Escape, one of his hits was Hero. And we're going to find out if this next clip plays or not.
You can call me Rick. I'm your new history teacher.
Yay!
Actor Matt Davis was born 47 years ago. He is known for his role as Alaric Rick Saltzman on the fantasy drama The Vampire Diaries.
Didn't watch that one.
Well, my daughter did. I know a lot about it, but I didn't
But
watch
you
any
never
of it.
watched it. Alrighty.
I have to be someone else. I have to be something else.
Actor Stephen Amell was born 44 years ago today. He played Oliver Queen, a.k.a. Green Arrow, on the CW series Arrow. I'm not familiar with that one. I've heard of it, but I don't know really anything about that. So we will have as our guest today Clyde Fenton with Fenton's Berry Farm. I know they're strawberrying it up right now.
Oh, yeah.
As are other farms around the area.
And
but
they are good.
they're juicy and good.
Very good.
But we're going to let Clyde tell us all about... I told him I wanted to know the history. Why?
Sure.
Why did you, and anything he wants to share about that. But we need to take a break, and hopefully we'll come back.
See you in a sec.
We will. We'll be back in just a few minutes, but stay with us, and we'll have Clyde Fenton in the studio. We'll be back.
Table, streaming live on Facebook and Hometown TV, channel 26.1.
Welcome back to Around the Table with Ann and Ian. That sounds so weird. But in the studio, we have Cyde Fenton, and Cyde is one of the Fentons of Fenton's Berry Farm. We were talking a little bit about the fact that I think it was a family affair for sure, and I know your wife is very much involved in that. But why don't you tell us about? I want to know a lot, but I want to know the inspiration. I want to know how you got started. I just give us a history of Fenton's Berry Farm and why.
Sure, I'd be glad to. It kind of goes back to when I was a teenager as far as Fenton's Berry Farm goes. I would spend summers picking for my uncle. And,
okay.
The name of his business was Fenton's Berry Farm. I'm originally from New York State. So,
whoa!
So, anyway, I kind of, without realizing, was falling in love with doing that kind of work, raising produce. And went off to college, got a degree in theology of all things, worked for a short time in that field, and then my uncle invited me back to manage his farm, and I managed his farm for 12 years.
Where was that?
That was in New York State.
Okay.
That's where I'm from originally. And then in 2002, we packed up and we came to Arkansas. The farm was a family farm, but
okay.
There were thoughts on what would happen to the property and so forth, and we wanted a place of our own. My wife was from Arkansas. She's born in Van Buren, actually grew up in the Hollister area of Missouri. Her dad worked for the Army Corps of Engineers, but we had met online. Brought her to New York. She worked with me there on the farm, but we had a young family, really wanted to try our hand at berry farming, and we came to Arkansas with the idea that we were going to buy a farm, a turnkey business in Mountain Home, and we were never able to work it out.
Sorry, guys.
Good luck with that.
We were never able to work out the financing on it, and ended up renting a place here in Harrison and found a property that looked like it'd be perfect. It had been a small cattle farm, but it had good dirt. And so we got started here in 2002 and planted our first blueberries and strawberries that year, and we've been here ever since.
You decided that, you had a family farm. It wasn't like you went from New York and said, I think Arkansas needs to grow berries, in the Harrison area. The farm was...
No,
okay.
There was a family farm, but it wasn't ours, and we wanted a place of our own. So, that was a driving factor. Actually, my wife thought I was crazy to come to the Ozarks and want a berry farm, because growing up in Hollister, her family gardened, and she's like, summers are hot, and the ground is rocky.
Right.
What's interesting is we bought a place south of town, kind of out in the Gaither community, that's on that prairie that kind of runs between Gaither and Valley Springs, and we've got great dirt out there. I had a Sunday school class actually help me plant my first acre of strawberries, and they're like, this doesn't look like our Ozark soils, because I plowed a whole acre and hit no rocks.
Wow.
It's a nice sandy, loamy soil, but we've been blessed with having that to work with. Anyway, but I came by it naturally because my grandfather on my mom's side was an orchardist in the Binghamton area, and my grandfather on my dad's side, he was actually a chicken farmer, but my uncle in the 70s, when my grandfather got out of the chickens, started the berry business in the 70s. And in the late 70s and 80s, I was picking berries as a kid for him. And, after college, I realized I loved to go work on the farm in the summer. And so, I grew into it, but I loved berry farming. So,
wow.
That's kind of how it all began. We came to Arkansas. We had 3 young boys at the time, and so they grew up around the farm and learned to work. They didn't always love what we did on the farm. But
it had to be a family affair.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They were involved in helping us plant and pick and all of that stuff. Pruning blueberries, they're all parts of it. But they were all involved. And, I guess I never expected any of them to necessarily follow in my footsteps. But I always got great reports that they had a great work ethic. And I think they picked that up from growing
I'm
up
sure.
on a farm. So,
I'm sure.
So,
well, berry farming's seasonal.
it is.
The blueberry season.
The income and harvest is seasonal. The work lasts all year
Well,
long.
okay, right.
Yeah.
But you have the opportunity for people to pick your own blueberries, and right now it's strawberry season. I know it's been a very wet one, so that's probably been a challenge.
Oh yes, absolutely. A wet strawberry season is always a challenge, but we've actually had a pretty good season so far. We've had a lot of nice berries come out. We've been able to pick between the raindrops, and
why would you encourage someone to pick their own, rather than going to wherever and picking up already picked?
We get a lot of families out, and it's a great family experience.
Mm-hmm.
We see that in all the crops that we pick. People come out with blueberries, grandparents coming out with their grandkids because they want them to have the experience. They want them to see where their food comes from.
Well, and it's hard. There's work that goes into this.
Oh, yes.
And that helps them experience that a little bit, I think.
Yeah, a taste of it. I think, it's funny. I've had people meet me in February and say, well, this is your off season. You can kind of take it easy. And I'm like, no, this is pruning season. And it's like my blueberry patch. I have about an acre of blueberries.
Okay.
It's about 80 to 100 hours a year to prune it. So, I'm doing that part-time now because I went to work for the Cooperative Extension as a county agent, which is a cool deal. I get to use all of this knowledge I gained in 30 years of farming in helping other people, in farming.
Do the same type of thing, I guess?
Now, it's funny. I wear multiple hats, and I'm working with the cattlemen and so forth with controlling their weeds and soil nutrition and things like that. But I'm also working with homeowners and some small commercial people that want to get into produce, and that's very gratifying to be able to do that.
Well, I'm sure you have a lot of knowledge just from experience that you can share with people about the ins and outs of it all.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny that you say that. My wife used to chafe a little bit because people would stop at the farm and I'd spend 3 hours with them, sharing with them how I did something. And when I went to work for Extension, it's like, well, now you get paid to share that knowledge, and she's right.
Well, okay, that's
but
a plus.
I always enjoyed doing that when people came to the farm, and I've always been an open book. What I've learned is not proprietary. If I can help someone not make the same mistakes, I'm glad to do that, because there's a lot of things that I had to do it wrong for a while before I figured out how to do it right. So
now you do your Fenton's Berry Farm, but I have picked up fresh produce at your place before. So how does that fit in?
Interesting. What launched us into that? My passion has always been small fruits, the berries. I mean, that's what I really love. And we've got blueberries, blackberries, red raspberries, black raspberries.
Oh, wow.
Those are all things that we're growing out there, not on a large scale, but berries has been my thing. I think it was about 2007. We had a freeze that swept across the South, and I mean, it took out produce across the South. Well, that was the first week of April, and at that time, I was not working for Extension, and so my livelihood was dependent on income from the farm.
Wow.
April 1st, we hustled around. It's like, okay, we lost the fruit this year. What are we going to do?
Wow.
And I put tomatoes in, and I put onions in. We grew green beans and okra, and I kind of launched into produce. I'd always gardened on the side of berry farming, so I had a knowledge of it. But that was kind of what launched us in, and it provided income for us that year that we had lost the fruit for our income. So. Wow. Once we got started that, we kind of did the two of them side by side for a number of years. Now I backed way off on the produce because on the non-fruit produce, just because I'm working full-time off the farm. But
it's hard work too to garden.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gardening the berry. You said you have to work 80, however many hours, even off season to do that. So add gardening on top. That's not an easy task.
Yeah. Well, not an easy task, but I guess I've learned over the years as I've worked with people. I mean, some of us just have a passion and a love for it, and the work it's work. I won't say it's not work, but it's enjoyable work. It's gratifying.
Gratifying.
Work.
Okay.
You know, we're not going to get rich at it, but I don't know. There's something really satisfying about, you know, providing fresh produce for folks, you know, contributing to the good food that they can eat. And
so can they pick we mentioned the blueberry and the strawberry is all I've ever seen as far as pick your own.
Well, and those are the larger. We used to do quite a few blackberries, still doing some blackberries. Grow a variety now called Ponca, which was University of Arkansas released, one of the sweetest thornless blackberries that they have produced.
Thornless, you sold me.
Wonderful, wonderful berry. But we grow a few of those, and we let folks pick them. But because we aren't doing a large patch of them, we do a lot of that by appointment. That's how we handle the smaller. But like the red raspberries, I had my first one 2 days ago. So in a week or two, we're going to be full swing in raspberries. But I have a limited amount, so we kind of do those by appointment.
Okay.
Not everybody can get them, but if you're interested, and let us know, and we have room, we'll let you come get some raspberries. So.
Well, one thing I want to mention about someone who went and picked strawberries at the farm here recently, they said, you get to pick the berry you want. And he said some of them were gigantuan and so sweet, which is an advantage of just going and buying in bulk and not knowing what you get.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. There's.
You may have eaten them in the field. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've always considered doing a weigh in, weigh out, but we've never pursued that. So.
But that's how you do it, by weight.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Years ago, when I was working for my uncle, we used to sell them by the quart, and we'd had those cardboard flats that you had 8 quarts in. And people would fill those quarts all full, and then there'd be about 2 quarts on either side on top of them. We'd say, we're going to charge you 15 extra cents, and they'd be mad at us. And so we switched to weight because you can't really argue with a scale. Right. I picked what I picked.
Yeah.
But that's worked out well for us because also packaging has been, you know, it's gone up and up in price. People can bring whatever they want to pick in. We weigh the container for them, so we're subtracting the weight of that. But it's worked well for us. So. And
you mentioned that your kids were on board, you know, earlier, and that helped them establish a work ethic.
Sure.
That was beneficial. And anytime you're doing hard, I mean, I'm gonna call it hard work because it is. It's a commitment for sure for you and your wife. Which we'll mention her name is, can I say her name?
Oh,
is she going to be, I don't want to, Veronica.
That's right.
And does she handle the social media? Because somebody does, and you keep the public very informed about what's going on there, what days you're open, why you're not, you know, which I think people appreciate.
My wife does handle it. Veronica handles that and always has, and I'm very grateful because I love the hands-on. I love to have my hands in the dirt. You know, my strong suit is not the marketing part of it, and so I've been very grateful to have her do that. But yeah, she's learned how to use the social media, and it's always changing. So she's having to adjust. You know, it's funny, and I'm not promoting or anything, but Facebook used to be a great way to advertise. We're still using it, but we've had to learn how to shift with how Facebook has shifted how they show things. And you can buy ads, but there's other things that we've kind of learned along the way, and you know, anyway, that's a thing that she has handled, and very grateful for that because growing them is only half the battle. Marketing is the rest of it. So
absolutely,
and it's a family business. I mean,
it is.
You have to have that advertising. Well, I don't know. People's word of mouth probably gets out pretty aptly to tell people about, you know, the
and word of mouth has probably helped a lot now, but that social media boost is word gets around. It's like, oh, Fenton's are picking berries. You know, our first year open, we had an acre of strawberries, and you know, there were a lot of days we kind of looked at each other and it's like, there's nobody here. But we were picking a lot more at that time, marketing them. But it took us a couple years, and that's the growing pains of any business. We weren't in sight. You know, we're 2 miles off of Highway 7, and so people didn't know we were there. And it took some time, but we did get there.
You used to have a stand there on Highway 7 South, and that's what I visited. But I went to your farm for, I guess, to pick blueberries one time. and I wasn't sure where I was going.
Yeah.
But once you got there, you knew you could come back, and
Yeah.
and it was easy to find. Actually,
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
no
We ran
problem.
that store for about 5-7 years, something like that, and that was a great addition to our business because we were doing farmers markets before that with our produce, with our vegetable produce,
Oh, okay.
especially, and the market gave us a place where we keep the produce cool and people could come in when it was convenient for them. When I went to work full time, we continued for a little while, but it was not feasible. I was not able to grow the vegetables that we were providing there, and so we transitioned back to more of a U-pick on the farm.
So you're working full time. How do you have time to do the farm? I mean,
I work full time on both ends. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately again, I love the work. Honestly, some of it's cathartic to come home and spend my weekends working out on my own farm. But I mean, what it takes is I probably spend an average of 80 hours a week working.
Do you have people that help you? I mean, in that respect?
Not a lot anymore.
Okay.
When we were marketing a lot, we usually would hire a crew.
Yeah.
We've kind of moved away from that. One of the things that's been great is as our U-pick has grown, there wasn't as much need to pick and market. If people are willing to come get them, that works really well for us with a limited staff. So
it's strictly a family business, and I encourage you first to follow their Facebook page so that you can keep up with what's going on, but also to go and visit during the season of picking and pick your own. And we get it easy because all we do is go pick, and there's a lot of work that goes into perfecting that. And I would encourage people to go to do you want to say where you're located, or how's the best way to find all that?
I mean, if you travel about 5 miles south on 7 South, like you were going toward Jasper, you turn right on Gip and Annie Road. Just stay on the pavement, and you will come to our farm.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty simple. Just if you get the turn. Now, if you miss it, you can come in from 206, but that's a little more convoluted, so I won't try to describe it.
Just go on Gip and Annie.
Yeah, that's right. Turn on Gip and Annie. It does turn into Fort Creek Road. Technically, we're on Fort Creek Road, but we have a gate there, right there by our strawberry patch, and you can see a high tunnel there. I did high tunnel production for a number of years. We're still growing some in one of our high tunnels, and maybe when I retire, I'll go back to growing in all of the high tunnels, but we'll see.
Well, is there anything else that you want to tell our audience about Fenton's, or we pretty well covered it?
Well, there's always more to tell, but I guess there's nothing specific coming to mind. I guess I'll say this, something, because I'm very pro education and helping people learn how to do stuff. We do a number of events, and some of them are private. I say private, they're open to the public. Some of them I actually do with my work with the Cooperative Extension Service. We did a pruning workshop out there, and we pruned peach trees and blueberries and blackberries. We had 15, 20 people come out because people want to know how to do those things when they have a few trees or bushes in their yard. So, those are some things where we offer, and I'm always willing to talk to someone if they've got questions on how do I do this.
Can we throw out how they can reach you at the extension?
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually, and I called the agent here. I'm actually the agent in Marshall, Arkansas. So I'm Searcy County.
Okay.
Cody Salmon is the agent here, but Cody and I work together well, and he grew up with the cattle business, so I mean he's very strong in that area. But he calls me up and is like, "Hey, I got a person with a question on fruit," and we work together. That's something we do in extension, but. You can reach out to the local extension office here, and if they can't help you, a lot of times they'll redirect you to an agent who can, like myself. So, working through your Cooperative Extension Service is a great way to get a hold of me. And I mean, if someone were to call Cody and say, "How do I get a hold of Clyde?" he would direct them. So,
well, perfect.
I want to say, my mother. Didn't really do it with us, but we didn't live this coast growing up either. But my children, she would take each one of them every year to go pick blackberries at your farm, and that has been a wonderful memory for them growing up, and for her to spend time with my children. So, if you're looking to just spend time with kids or to do something different, that is a wonderful experience
it's
for
a fantastic
families.
Opportunity, and we see that, but they come and have a good time, and of course those thornless blackberries make it a plus. I remember
more, yes.
When we first opened with blackberries, I remember folks coming and they had their long sleeves on. They got out there and there's no thorns.
Yeah.
So I mean that's been a real plus, and that was a development of the University of Arkansas. They came up with all these thornless varieties, but they've been a real plus for U-Picks. So.
Yeah.
Well, we are out of time, but I encourage you to visit Fenton's farm, or at least keep up with them and make sure they're open. And I want to thank you for taking time out this morning to share your story with us and about the farm. And I wish you well with every season.
Well, thank you. It was good to be here.
You're more than welcome. We need to take another break, and we will do that. And when we return, I don't know what we're going to talk about. That's what I always say. We're going to talk about something. You'll find out. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
Join
on the original KHOZ.
All right, welcome back to Around the Table with Ann and Ian. We hope Dan is having a good flight. He's flying to New York for some stuff, and I wish him well. I don't need him today. Look what I've got.
Thanks, Ann. He's on an important journey.
He is on an important journey, and I'm glad that he has a hobby, so to speak, that he enjoys like that.
Absolutely.
We want to mention again about Dick's 5 and 10, and the winners being Rhonda Greger, Ann Reagan, Carolyn Farrell, Shirley Groen, and Angela Champion. And again, they're giving 5 $100 shopping sprees each week during a streetscape. And then you want to talk about Paradise Cream a little bit there?
Yeah, so Paradise Cream has a shop in Mountain Home, and they also have a truck here in Harrison. And they opened up yesterday. They're open from 3 to 8 every, let's see.
I think
Is it weekdays?
Good question, Ian. I'm gonna have to find that detail out.
They didn't specify, but they were from 3 to 8 o'clock. They're located at 1512 North Main Street in Harrison. They're across the street from Pizza Hut, and that's where you can get the best homemade ice cream in Arkansas. Right there
you
at Paradise
go.
Cream.
Just go get it.
That's right.
And I want to highlight here. We have a couple of minutes before we have to take our last break about some local events that are going on this weekend. And the truck and tractor pull is on Saturday. It starts at 7 p.m. It's in the Harrison Roundup Club Arena there at the fairgrounds. And I think our area tends to like truck and tractor pulls.
Oh, yeah, that's a
and
favorite.
that type of thing. And it can get loud and crazy probably. But that is going on this weekend. And I know take advantage of that. And also Farmers Market is due to be here on Saturday. And they're going to have mimosas for Mom this Saturday, since Mother's Day is on Sunday. And that will be happening on the square from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it's part of the Farmers and Artisans Market.
Interesting.
So they're honoring their mom, and I think they're going to do something for the dads in June. And then also, Young Adult and Children's Book Sale starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the Boone County Library, and Saturday it will be 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. But all proceeds go, the Friends of the Library help with their proceeds go to the Boone County Library. And they buy books and I guess any upkeep, I mean, every building needs upkeep.
And we need a library.
We certainly do. And I invite people to go in the library and check out, go see. If you've never been in there, you're missing something for sure. And also, Pam Tillis is going to be here this weekend. Okay. Now, she is going to be at the Seville, and she's giving two different night concerts. And it's a very, the Seville is a very intimate venue, so there is limited seating. But this is something special for our area that doesn't normally happen. I mean, doors will open at 6 and the show starts at 7. But to be able to get tickets, it's not on her website. You need to text the number I'm going to give you. So get your pencil so you can write this down. And I mean, the time's almost here. The first show's tomorrow night. But text 479-220-5959 for tickets. And go see Pam Tillis. I think that will be a great concert. All right. We're going to take our last break. And there you are. We'll be back.
Be back.
The Branson Coaster is inviting Boone County to
Welcome back to Around the Table with Dan and Ian.
Make sure you hit the button so we can talk.
Yeah, because well, I'm surprised your dad doesn't shut me down sometimes when I start yapping. We want to mention kind of a trendy, odd story, I guess.
Yeah, so Mother's Day is coming up here on Sunday, and a new report shows that mothers, if they were paid a salary, would make around $145,000 per year.
Whoa, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a 4% increase from 2024, and I guess this report they do pretty often here. And that's just for what they do at home, it says, including cooking, cleaning, emotional support, and helping with homework. That doesn't include grocery shopping, doctor's appointments, and shuttling kids to and from their after-school activities. The Mother's Day Index is released every year around this time. So, yeah, interesting. So, let's be nice to our moms.
I agree.
They are definitely underpaid.
And as we all know, this weekend is Mother's Day, so celebrate your mom, or the ladies. I mean, there can be people who are not actually your mom who you consider to be a mother figure, and we just celebrate all women, but moms are special.
Absolutely.
Dads are too, but moms are special, and we're celebrating them.
Hardest job in the world, I've always thought.
I think so too. Mm-hmm. And people think that stay-at-home moms are kind of, that's a foo-foo. It's not a foo-foo.
That's a lot of work.
I'm here to tell you, it's not a foo-foo job. I want to mention this. Weight Watchers is filing for bankruptcy.
What?
Yes. Well, there's another side effect of all the weight loss drugs out there, and that would be this. Weight Watchers has filed for bankruptcy after 62 years. And they were a successful way to lose weight and taught you, I think, a lot about picking the things you eat and being more conscientious of that. But the CEO, Tara Camonte, called their debt a significant burden and said that filing for Chapter 11 is necessary to eliminate over $1 billion that they owe. The company still has 3 million people on their program. And let's hope this news doesn't drive them into the arms of Ben & Jerry or Paradise Cream, depending on the circumstance.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not surprised, I guess. I hadn't really thought about the effects it would have on something like Weight Watchers. A very famous, often guest that you have on your show is Todd Scarborough. Yeah.
And he always said if they could make weight loss into a pill or a shot,
yes,
it would change everything.
And look at
everybody
it now.
would be on it. So
my only issue with that is, what does it look like long term?
Mm-hmm.
And do people gain weight back when they get off of it, or do they have to do a maintenance for the rest of their life? I don't, you have to still teach them to eat right.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, you can't just do what you've always been done.
Right, and expect the same result. Also, baby products are hit hard by tariffs. So the new tariffs are making a lot of things more expensive, including the cost of raising a child, which is expensive enough. 70% of strollers, changing tables, car seats, and bassinets in the U.S. are made in China. Didn't know that. And according to trade experts in Washington Post, prices could be going up by as much as 30%. Kids' toys and baby clothes are also being taxed pretty high. Daycare and formula have gone up in price over the last few years as well. So
sounds like we need to start making some baby products here in the United States.
Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
I would agree with that. What we want to mention today is World Red Cross Day. Do you have that? I didn't want to know if you have that in front of you, Ian.
Yes, I do.
It's also National Coconut Cream Pie Day. I don't like coconut, so that's not my jam, but a lot of people out there do. And what's next there?
Motorhead Day, VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, which we kind of discussed that a little earlier.
Right.
And Academy of Country Music Awards.
That's tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
Yeah, coming up.
We will not be here tomorrow, but we will be back with Dan on Monday. And thanks again to my co-host Ian for being here.
Thanks for having me, Ian.
I appreciate it very much.
Yes.
And I hope everyone has a great Friday and a weekend.
Enjoy your moms this weekend.
Yes, do that. All right. Thanks so much.
Good night, everybody.